So my name's Logan Ketchum with Veritone. Going to drill in a little bit more. We've been hearing a lot about AI, kind of briefly talked about. So want to just dig in deeper into what that means and go over exactly how our customers at Veritone are using AI on a day-to-day basis. But first, just quick show of hands, people in the crowd that are actually using AI on a day-to-day basis, whether it's in a MAM or a DAM or some other database currently today. One person? Okay. Anybody planning to in the next 12, 24 months? Couple? Okay, couple more. All right, well, hopefully I can give you guys a couple of thought starters today. And we're going to go through about 10 slides. We've been seeing a lot of slides. If the Wi-Fi is good enough, I'm actually just going to log into our platform today and show you how our customers are using it today in a live demo. So just really high level, I mean, we've all heard promises, right, of AI. And so what kind of have we heard? So it promises to streamline operational efficiency, right, by augmenting or potentially replacing human beings. Okay, so then high level again, product innovation, right? So basically cheaper and faster than humans can today. And then finally decision, support to augment or take out the potential of human error in decision making. So again, very high level. If you trust it enough, you can do that. So again, just one level down. So what is the opportunity in media and entertainment as we see it, as we look at it today, right? It's big content. Unstructured data is the bane of our existence, but it's also a huge opportunity, right? The challenge is that it is up to the human to take and to actually review the unstructured data, to put structure around it, to be able to do the things like search, discover, analyze, et cetera. So extremely time consuming and costly. It's why ESPN has 500 interns logging a football every time it's thrown, or this was an interesting one from a recent customer. The Met Police had 5,000, let me see if I can get these numbers right, 5,000 police officers reviewing 200,000 hours of video over a 6-month period to find criminals after those London riots. So again, extremely time consuming effort and can be very costly. So, how can AI help us with that, right? So just want to go over the cognitive categories of AI, at least as we kind of define them today, right? So you have on the left, artificial narrow intelligence, right? So you guys may have heard that. Basically, it knows a lot about a little, right? So take AlphaGo, for example. It can beat a human in the game of Go, right? Plop that in any other situation, it's going to fail miserably. Okay, we've been hearing a lot about artificial narrow intelligence with the different providers out there today that are built for specific things but fail if you drop that into another workflow. You have artificial general intelligence, or AGI, which is kind of the ideal state that we're all looking for, which knows a lot about a lot. And an example here that somebody put together was HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey, for you fans out there. And obviously could control Discovery 1 with speech recognition, face recognition, emotion detection, et cetera. And then artificial superintelligence, right? We hear about that a lot from Elon Musk when he's trying to sell tickets to Mars. So I'm going to leave that one for him, and we're just going to focus on ANI and AGI today, and how you can kind of leverage both of those on a day-to-day basis. So let's just start with the traditional approach, and we've been hearing a lot about that today, right? So it's the common approach of, hey, tell me which AI vendor you like, and we'll put that into our platform. And so it's basically, just replace that cognitive engine. Obviously, it's a depiction of one with, IBM Watson speech to text, Google's logo recognition engine. Those engines are very good, but they were built by specific engineers, right, in specific parts of the world using very specific and narrow training data, built for a very finite use case, right? So they are not scalable. You can't, they're not created equal. You cannot apply them generally across an organization. So what happens, as we know today, they, exponential growth in terms of these disparate engines, right? Primarily due to enhancements, I would say, in open source technology, obviously budgets for AI, and just technical aptitude in building these engines. Right, so you can see the amount of growth that we've experienced in just these ANI engines entering the marketplace today. So the challenge becomes, if you want to ask your customers, or if you are the customer, the end consumer, how are you supposed to evaluate and keep up with these new engines as they come to market, right? It's a challenge, and you will quickly find yourself in a perpetual state of technical evaluation, should that be the approach that you choose. So, what's the right approach, right? And in our opinion, this is what has been working for our customers today. It's what our platform's built off, which is a operating platform. And think of it as an OS for AI that connects with all these narrow, disparate third-party engines, and can correlate and use those in combination together, using our AI algorithm to decipher which engine to use at a specific time for a specific job for the optimal results, based on user input, which oftentimes is cost, speed, and accuracy, right? Is it 100,000 hours, or is it 24/7 on CNBC, but it's got to be 100% accurate because your advertisers want to know their clearance, right? So in this type of approach, you're essentially future-proofing the space of AI. Today, we connect with over 250 disparate cognitive engines. We have an AI algorithm that sits on top based on those customer inputs that will elect those engines on a specific job. So I'll give you an example. This can be interclass. So a class of cognition would be like transcription, natural language processing. So you may have a multilingual radio station that speaks both English and Spanish, and sometimes Spanglish, right? So to get the highest level of accuracy, you may want to run the best available English language transcription engine, as well as Spanish language transcription engine at the same time against the same media feed, and basically do a lattice vote to determine the highest net accuracy, right? So we do that today with our radio partners. An intra-class, right, combining two different classes of cognition together. An example of that would be, transcription has obviously had the most money pouring into it, I think, based on the Alexa and the new smart systems that are coming out. So captioning, obviously, we're looking to augment, going back to the workflow augmentation phase, closed captioning, right? The challenge with live play-by-play sports is the names are extremely hard to get with accuracy. So what we're doing is we're leveraging face recognition technology as well as natural language processing to augment the captioning to result in higher accuracy. So you can correlate and you can orchestrate these engines both interclass and intra-class on a very dynamic basis, on a very evolving basis, sort of in near real time to suit your use cases. So the next slide is just a video, right, that we've all probably seen some form of NASCAR. So it's a NASCAR clip, and it's just a clip of a sporting event as a human would recognize that. And then the next slide will be a frame-by-frame sort of depiction of how an orchestrated approach to AI would solve a very tangible media and entertainment use case. Gonna need some audio. The audio is very exciting.
Chase Elliott already beat up from an earlier accident. Had a front row seat as well.
9 to go. 20 going to go in the middle. Be a big right behind. 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 Caution. We're fine. We're fine.
I think looked like he thought he had it cleared.
Right. So, obviously we know there's a crash. We can hear the announcers. We don't really hear every word they're saying. We can see some logos if you're looking for that. So obviously as humans, we can basically perceive the highlights of what just happened in that clip. So now let's look at sort of what the cognitive cloud would see based on the parameters of the engines that you have set based off your media use case. Right, so in this case, it'll just elect to run image recognition using a Clarify engine to understand the Napa logo, third-party attribution to what is Napa, nuance for speaker recognition, so not only is there people talking, but who's talking, index it for NASCAR and Fox, run face recognition to understand that it's Chase Elliott, again, third-party attribution to the position or rank that he's in, and kind of at the fundamental baseline level, we're transcribing every word said so that that text is searchable. Right, and I'll go through an example just like this in our platform today to show you that although that does look like text search in our stack, it's actually a phonetic search, and those words are just the most confident words that the engine saw, right? So it's both a phonetic but also a word-based search. So primary use cases in media and entertainment, I mean, I think you guys all probably understand this, but at the kind of the highest level, I always hear about metadata enrichment. Usually it's so that somebody further down the supply chain can take action on it, whether it's an editor, whether it's the advertising sales team, whether it's the marketing team, whether it's the distribution social team. But basically at a fundamental level, we can run these engines against live streams, against files, against clips, against any audio or video file format, so that everybody throughout the organization can leverage and benefit from the metadata, right? Whatever those tasks are. Nobody came to us 4 years ago, frankly, for metadata enrichment or 2 scoops of AI. So we built applications on top of our stack that I'll show you today, and our primary direct engagement with our customers is for native or in-content sponsorship opportunities, verification, valuation, and analytics, right? So it's obviously for the folks in television, it's very easy to get clearance levels on traditional spots, but as marketing and advertising is shifting in content native, it doesn't exist anymore. It's not on a log anywhere. So using image recognition, speech recognition to track those things in near real time and provide more of an online-esque digital type reporting back to agencies and advertisers is netting a higher yield of advertising dollars for our customers. So advertising has been, I mean, that's where the money is in the content. That has been primarily where we've seen a lot of success with our platform in specific. And then obviously, content and fan engagement and advertising all kind of go together. But the opportunity that now you have all this content indexed in certain cases in near real time, within minutes of something actually happening, you can have producers, social editors, downrange, that are literally clipping and sending these things out. We have an integration with Amazon Alexa, right? So that people can now start to expose, traditionally in radio, obviously, in large portion for television, it wasn't actionable, but once it hit the transmitter, it would just evaporate, right? Now that we have an index of all that stuff, we can expose that for SEO on our customers' sites. We can expose that to Amazon for search, not only internally, but externally. So I think it's time for the demo, if I can get that going.
I'm gonna try to get the internet. It might need to
Yeah.
see if you can get. If not, we'll switch. Looks good so far.
That's just stretched, that's all. Apologize for the interruption. I just think a live demo is usually a little bit more fun for me anyway.
Yeah, just go back to the rod and reel. Might have to go to this laptop. Just type
I think
in
it's
your-
going.
I don't think you're gonna get it. It's gotten saturated.
Looks like I get it. Should I just switch over to this?
Switch to this.
Any questions in the meantime, feel free to shout them out while I switch over here.
Thought about changing the term AI to some sort of pivot table file-based, recognition thing as opposed to something that everybody's got a very dark fear of?
I mean, I would like that. Yeah, I would like. I mean, that's trust me. That's why I at least like the definitions of ANI, AGI, and ASI, because then we get kind of the super intelligence robots thing out of the equation. But yeah, I mean, I think so. I also think it's such a new space that people are trying to understand first how to use it, and then secondarily what to name it.
Okay, I'm gonna go
Cool.
type in. Then I think I have to put this thing in mirror.
Is this Chrome?
No, it's,
There should be Chrome on here.
yeah, it should be. Just go into. And then we gotta change the display too.
Where's- Do you see Chrome?
I Just start typing Chrome in the search.
Where's this? You want to do it?
Yeah, sure.
Any other questions? I mean, that was a good one.
I've got one for you, Logan.
Yeah.
Are you guys 100% cloud-based? Is there anything for people who want to do the analysis of content that's on premises without having to shoot a bunch of either original res or proxy material up to public cloud?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So kind of our stock deployment, the one you'll see today is in AWS primarily, which interfaces with, again, all 250 engines. But we do have the capability, we have an integration with Quantum, so you can run our entire stack and all the engines local on-prem, as well as a hybrid model for the folks that are interested in that.
Can you talk a little bit more about the live? Because obviously we've been talking a lot about kind of non-live workflows today and file-based or content media supply chain. But you mentioned live briefly, and can you talk about what you guys are doing with analyzing live signal? Yeah,
sure, absolutely. So what I'm going to show you today, there's about a 10 to 15 minute delay in terms of processing. We just released our real-time architecture. So our entire stack has the ability to run in real time, which is about 3 to 5 seconds post-live. It's the engines themselves that, there's a handful, I would say probably 15, that are currently able to run in true real time. So yeah, I mean, I have an app on my phone that's in beta right now for us, and you can point it at any logos or anything, and it'll show you in real time exactly what's happening.
Any other questions while they're setting up? I can hand the mic off.
So using all these various AI engines that have all their own little specialties, how do you handle cases where customers want to do or improve the cognition on things for their various use cases, whether it be specific words that keep coming up that the engine isn't getting right?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So for a long time, we did that on behalf of our customers. We did release within the last 6 months what we call Veritone Developer Application. And the use case there is exactly that, right? So if there's engines that they really like and they want to run, whether they already have a license agreement with Amazon, so they just want to improve that engine, they can basically do that behind the scenes in our stack by themselves. So they can train words, photos, images, recognition, all that kind of stuff, as well as deploy their own engines. I mean, we have a lot of customers through that VDA application that have built specific engines around phonetic search for financial news data. And so a lot of the off-the-shelf engines, they don't offer that, right? And so we could train that for them, or you could go to IBM and spend a couple $1 million and get that trained. But a lot of these bigger shops, they have the technical chops, frankly, and the budget to do that. And so they can deploy that in our stack tomorrow and run that with all the other engines in concert together, as well as build their own applications on top of our stack, right? So again, we like to have a flexible approach. I'm going to show you some applications that we've built on top of it, primarily for search, discovery, tracking, all that kind of stuff. But to the extent that our partners or customers want to build their own applications to monetize them and sell them to other companies, or just keep them private, that's another option as well. All right, so I believe I'm up and running here. So basically, I'm just in an account right now, and what we're doing is we're basically just taking a stream from the over-the-air linear broadcast of CNN. We're ingesting that, we have been for the last year or so, and we're running that against face recognition trained on a subset of their talent, natural language processing or transcription to transcribe all the words spoken, OCR to basically scrape the screen of text, and logo recognition. So we run those engines in parallel in real time as the media is actually playing out. Within about 10 minutes, they can search by any or all of those parameters together. So all the metadata that we're creating is temporally indexed back to the original file format or source in this case. So when I drop down here, I can just go into, this is from 250 today. I want to find one where there's faces because that's a little bit more fun. Yeah, who's that guy? What's he doing in there? Yeah. Here we go. So you can see transcription, right? So this is just, I think we lost the audio again.
The fajitas are sizzling. At fajita, it's sizzling fajita.
So this is just the transcription of this particular chunk, right? This is consumed right now and stored in our version of CMS. And so, all the metadata that we're creating, we're indexing in our platform applications are extensible via API into any or all of your internal systems as well. So we have a lot of our customers that are leveraging our applications just because we're a little bit further down the path. We've been doing it for about 3.5, 4 years. But like the production teams and all those technical teams are actually leveraging, they're paying for it once, leveraging it in multiple different places throughout the organization.
I think the best thing that can come
So
from
here's,
it now is,
CNBC, who's a customer of mine, they have over 6,000 faces trained in their library application, which they can just do through our UI on a programmatic script. So, these are just a couple of subset of the folks, but obviously they have Trump and others. You can see all these are time indexed as well. So this is just a commercial, but
You guys all sound the same.
obviously Chris Cuomo's trained. Got the OCR, so this literally is just scraping the screen for text. It's a lot of data, but we have Boolean logic that allows us to sort of target different places on the screen. So it doesn't clutter it too much, but that's just what you're seeing here. And then obviously logo recognition, right? So it's just looking for all the logos. This is more of in a lot of these engines, there's more broad-based, publicly available engines like Google Logo, which is great. Has about 2 million logos in the index. It's a black box to us and our customers. Can't train or augment it. So we've built some other engines, and we have some other engine providers that are fully trainable, right? So there's not 2 million logos, but if you only have 10 to 20 that you care about and you need it to be 100% accurate, and it's Bob's Toyota in Maine, that's not going to be in Google, you can leverage that engine. So this is just how we visualize the metadata in our platform. I'd say maybe 5% of the customers actually come in here because those that are interested, we're just enriching their MAM, and that's where they leverage that. But now when I go into discovery, this is where you can take action. So we heard a little bit about capabilities in the future, be able to search by multiple parameters to find specific clips. We're doing that today for hundreds of customers and have been for a very long time. So you can see that there's some media here from a tracker. I'll just go in here and I'll search. Just search by, he's got to be trained. So I'm looking for Anderson Cooper. And when he says, put it in quotes, breaking news, I'm going to add that. Obviously, I could put an or a not. It's full Boolean logic. And then I'm going to say, I also want Korea on the screen. So these are the icons: transcription, face, object, logo, OCR, sentiment, tag, etc. So basically, I just did a multivariate search query, and I'm asking the system to pull through the year's worth of data or so that we have of CNN, and find me the clips where all three parameters are present in the clip. So this is from yesterday. I don't think he's been on yet. So you can see his face on the screen.
You're alive, and we're so glad.
What we've done in this account,
I know all the people
to just kind of illustrate, our customers also have the ability to change the duration before and after the clip, basically, if this is a production use case or not, they can do that.
Just incredible. Coming up, breaking news about the planned upcoming summit between the president and Kim Jong-un. We're learning that the Trump administration wants a few things to happen.
So all three parameters are on there for
Details
search and
next.
discovery.
Plus, the name calling is back when North Korea official.
Obviously, again, Boolean logic. There's a whole host of things in our applications. I'm sure you guys can figure out what to do, but in your own systems. But we do have sharing, so you could quickly share this out to email, link, social, etc. So we have built some of those native tools. Download, trim, obviously, if you wanted to edit this clip. So search and discovery is great, right? It's really good and powerful to use AI to find what you're looking for. In my opinion, it's more important on what do you do with it next, right? How do you further the business? Whether it's you're a digital person, you want to share, or you're on the programming side, you want to understand, is there a incremental lift in the amount of times that Wolf Blitzer is doing breaking news, or is there a correlation or causation into a decrease in viewership, right? So those are all things that are possible today by correlating things like we have in our platform, Nielsen Analytics, and any other third-party data set that are traditional types of data sets or big data that has been being used for analytics, and marry that in real time with your content-based metadata. So I'll just show an example of that. Over here we have watch lists or trackers. They're essentially saved searches, or kind of a Google alert. So again, to the native advertising use case, this is just looking for every time weather sponsored by and the Purina logo appear on screen, but they're not looking for the traditional spots, they're looking for the native in-content integrations. Oh, I accidentally clicked on the second one there. Right, so we've saved that search rather than me doing an ad hoc search. It will just programmatically clip, and you can control the parameters of how long a clip is. But so you can see the clip here, Purina logo in the background. He's got to be saying Purina, or you can set one that says he can't be saying Purina. It's just got to be a visual integration. You can see all the logos present, and you can see the delivery with the Nielsen ratings. Right. So not only can they see the clearance of the ad, but they can also see the delivery of the ad, and they can do things like export a CSV spot report. Things that used to take and probably still take with a traditional logging system weeks or month-end recaps, you can be doing daily and sending these to your advertising customers, et cetera. So you can see here's basically just a CSV export of all the metadata we've created in the platform for each one of those clips, including the Nielsen data. The last thing I'll show is we'll go back to the trusty North Korea has been a pretty hot topic today. So why don't we go look at analytics for North Korea. So it's great to be able to find the clips. It's even cooler to be able to start to look at some data visualization around that. Oh, looks like it's stuck on Purina. Yeah. Well, yeah. We've some of our customers have built some really interesting, because they can obviously pull in third-party data sets like trending topics from their websites. So we do occasionally see very interesting hot topic searches. Obviously, you can see NRA chatter is one in here. So again, just a different way to visualize, to really use AI in a practical basis to be able, we have a lot of customers in the media and entertainment space that know everything that's going on in the world, but they do not have enough information about their own content, right? Because there's so much of it. And so they don't know if they're having specific guests on too often, the correlation to the impact on ratings, things like that. So, this was the fire and fury comment that Trump made about North Korea. Obviously, that got 469 mentions of just the word North Korea said on CNN that day. So again, I know that we had some technical difficulties there, but I hope that you guys were able to see that a lot of this stuff isn't just sort of ethereal, it's actually practical and people are using it on a day-to-day basis. Any questions I can help with? I know we answered a few already, so.
I do have a mic, and I'll ask just another quick one. Are there any interesting kind of data analytics anecdotes you can tell us, even if you have to generify it a little bit, like an interesting insight someone learned about their content that they weren't otherwise exposed to?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of gave it away already. They're, one of our customers, who again will remain nameless, they obviously have a lot of guests on, and the senior executives were sure that they were having this person on too often. But the producers of the show, who actually watched the show and produced the show, were convinced that they actually had the person on less. But they had no empirical data to actually have a conversation about it in a meeting. So it was just kind of feelings and subjective conversations. And so they were able to actually not only look and see that there was a decrease in 10% over the last 2 months, but that because of that, there was an increase in viewership and ratings.
So when you're running multiple cognitive engines, how are you using the data concurrently as you're having them generate what you're looking for?
Yeah, and so I guess it depends on where you're taking action, whether it's in our platform or outside of our platform. But that's why we've spent a lot of time with our UI and our search logic that makes it extremely easy with fuzzy search logic, et cetera, to be able to sort of use these. I mean, if you think of the engines, think of them as filters, right? So, I mean, transcription is not 100% accurate. We already heard that today. Phonetic search is not 100% accurate. So how do you leverage OCR or face recognition or any other parameters that may have happened in a clip to actually find what you're looking for fastest? And I think that Boolean search logic is probably the easiest way to be able to do that.
What's the percentage of accuracy across the different engines that you're working with?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's a tough question. I'd say off the shelf, we're primarily around 80 to 85% accuracy in transcription, and that's for captioning with a little bit of training. We're into the 90s and already doing pre-recorded captioning for a lot of our customers today. We're close to real-time captioning, we think. And so, you know, it's a broad question, frankly, but I think with enough training, you can get to where it's accurate enough to take action on it. And I think that's the important thing.
Has anybody employed you yet to do this relating to rights and clearances and cease and desist orders? Because it seems like this is almost a robotic lawyer looking for logo infringement and stuff.
Yeah, we do have a big legal vertical. Obviously, I'm in the media and entertainment space, but absolutely. E-discovery, I mean, there's a lot of applications, so we're obviously not just in media and entertainment, we're in legal and law enforcement, et cetera. So I know we're a little bit over here. Any final questions? No? All right, thanks, guys.
Sorry for the,
No.